I'm going to be doing book reviews for those of you who are fellow book enthusiasts. Um, all different kinds of books. Grown-up books, just regular fiction, maybe some mysteries, some science fiction, some you get the point. I did notice one thing. When I looked on YouTube for book reviews in general, I found a lot of teen fiction. And don't get me wrong, I like teen fiction, it's fine. Some of it's really good, but that's not what I want to read all the time. Sometimes I want to read some grown up things. I am a grown up, so I want to read grown up things. Um, but basically, yeah. I went through a bunch of different books that I was considering for, as you can see here, I was just debating this myself right now, for my first review. This is my very first YouTube video, and I'm sorry I keep looking at the screen. I just want to let you know, I apologize for the quality and the fact that I keep looking at the screen because I'm recording this on my computer, my laptop camera, because I'm poor. I don't have money for things like flip cams and all these other fancy gadgets you people have nowadays. So, flip cams. Okay, point is, I'm going to get started right off the bat. I don't want to bore you too much with my babbling on. Um, there's a book that I really, really enjoyed a couple of years ago called Flight. This is the book right here by Mr. Sherman Alexie. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay. So, really good book. I love Sherman Alexie. I was introduced to him in college. I read a book by him called 10 Little Indians, and I just started reading all of his other books. Basically, this book is about a young man. Let me preface it. It is a, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it now. It is an adult book, but the main character is 15. But it's meant for grown-ups, really. I think teenagers could read it. I don't see a problem with it. Anyway, 15-year-old young Native American man who has been passed off from foster home to foster home, and it's just had like a really tough time. Um, and he's so angry, and he's got all these problems, and he's full of rage, and so he's trying to fight the system, so to speak. Um, so he makes this decision to shoot up a bank. Um, so he goes into the bank, and as he goes into the bank, he is taken on this sort of magical journey through time. Um, that's really cool. Like he goes to all these really different cool places. Like he goes to the Battle of Little Bighorn and all kinds of other stuff. Like people like from his own past and people he knew, people who somehow had something to do with him. Just people from history in general, all through time. Um, and it sort of gives him a perspective on who he is and who he wants to be, who he should be. Really interesting book. Uh, Jumps from one thing to the other. It's really cool. Not super fast, not to the point where you're like, okay, I've had enough of this, but it's it's an appropriate amount of jumping, I'd say. So if you feel like you'd be interested in a book of that subject matter, um, go out and get it. I got it when it first came out, I think, or like right after it came out in paperback. Um, Paperback, I should say, would be more. I'll enunciate. Um, got it at Borders. Moment of silence for a great bookstore that is now deceased. Anyway, go pick up the book. It's really good. I'd rate it like 8 out of 10. And that's not like, a lot of people are like, oh, I give this book a 10 and this one a 10 and blah, blah, blah. People mess up the scale. For me, if it's a 5, it is perfectly average. If it's a 10, it's like the best book I've ever read in my entire life, and there's nothing gonna ever be better. No, number 1 is like horrible, don't read it. So an 8 is really, really impressive for me. Can't see my thumbs. It's alright, you don't need to. I'm being lame, it's late. Anyway, don't listen to me. But yeah, so keep stopping by. I'm gonna keep doing book reviews. If you're into that sort of thing, if you're not into that sort of thing, like, why are you here? Like, why have you listened to me talk for the last like almost 5 minutes? Go check out something else. There's some really interesting stuff on YouTube. Shay Tards are really fun all the time. Spricket, she's good. Shane Dawson. Um, anyway, uh, happy reading. That looks lame too. Anyway, have a good night, guys.